New Orleans is a place with a Landau family kind of vibe. Weird, welcoming, unpredictable, sincere. No matter how many times you visit, there are smells and buildings and faces and rituals that almost fool you into thinking you've arrived in a foreign land. My family used to go on vacation all the time when we were kids. We'd drive the station wagon up to Vermont, where my dad had business, or we'd enjoy a precious week at the Jersey Shore. But with the conflicting of schedules and work and life, vacation gets more complicated. Time together as adults becomes harder to find. So a week in New Orleans would serve not only as a great excuse to keep the vacation tradition alive, but packing everyone into a century-old vacation cottage in the heart of Treme would also answer my family's question of why I've chosen to call this place home. Travel's more accessible today than ever before, but to find the best experiences, the right vacation rental can make all the difference. For years, I've worked with the inner circle of professionals leading this movement. Now I'm going on vacation to experience their work in person, and I'd like to share with you our stories as we redefine hospitality on a whole new scale. My name's Matt Landau. This is the Vacation Rental Show. I chose this vacation rental because I could fit my whole family under one roof for way less than the cost of several hotel rooms, and the common spaces are something we really value. I also chose it because of its location, in a real neighborhood, not in the middle of the craziness, yet within walking distance to all the things that we wanted to see.
We hug here in New Orleans.
Good. We do.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
Let's get together. Let's get together. Let's get together.
Welcome to New Orleans.
Thank you.
This is the Creole Cottage. And welcome to Treme.
Yeah.
Is this Treme?
This is Treme. Historic Treme begins right here on this
We
block.
watched it. We watched
St. Augustine Church, which is the most famous Treme church, is literally right across the street.
Eric Bay is not originally from New Orleans, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a local who cares about it more passionately than he does.
So throughout a career in the hotel industry and food and beverage, it all kind of morphed into sharing my home and bringing those same experiences that I have led others down those paths and said, welcome to my New Orleans. When you're coming to my city, this is what I think you guys should do if you want a true sense of New Orleans.
So is this like a traditional Treme home?
So this was 1830s. It was here 20 years before the church. Landed aristocracy, where they had many properties, where they had their plantation home, and then family members, and then workers, and then stables and slaves were all basically part of the plantations.
The Creole Cottage has ambiance. You walk in and you're almost transported back in time. But then you look and see that none of the modern amenities are overlooked.
Do you have a nest in your home?
I didn't even know what a nest
Right.
was.
If I get a text from Matt that says my dad is cold, I'm just gonna go, I've warmed him up, and I can now adjust this
Scary.
accordingly.
And they had those in the 1830s.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's get together. Let's get together.
I love this. It's beautiful.
Cute.
Ooh, this is gorgeous.
Where are you? He's in some. Oh, I mean, you got me. I was trying to get you to get the camera.
That's the first thing I do when I arrive in a vacation rental with my family, is search for a place to jump out and hide and sneak attack.
If you were to stand in the New Orleans airport arrivals area with a clipboard and ask people what was their first thing that they planned on doing upon landing, I'm pretty sure the top answer would somehow be related to food.
Food for me when I travel is about getting to know the destination and getting to know the people and the cultures. And I love when I travel and there's a surprise. You know, here in New Orleans, you're thinking French, Spanish, Italian, but you don't think Vietnamese. You know, you don't think Filipino. There are all these other flavors. And so when I travel, I want to get a broad picture, but then I want to dig deep down and find something and learn something I didn't already know.
And Chef Amy has this style of business that she calls culinary entertainment. It's not just a normal cooking class. You don't go somewhere and sit and follow instructions. She comes to your vacation rental property and helps you understand a little more context around these iconic dishes. Perhaps most importantly, she encourages you to have fun with food.
You don't get to sit and hang out the whole time. You're gonna do some cooking. Today we're gonna make a classic gumbo. This is actually my personal family recipe. We're gonna whip up some grits because it's brunch. And then we're gonna flip some crepes. You're going to tilt them, swirl them, throw them in the air, catch them in the pan.
Perfectly.
Does not sound.
I did the first party trick.
And then we'll finish up with bananas foster flambe.
Really hungry.
So,
Yeah.
good. Well, let's get started.
It's nice to vacation with your younger brother because you can assign him tasks.
So, I need someone to do some stirring.
Simon will do that.
So,
Simon? I'll
Just
take
trying to get out.
all
of
right.
that
Can it be broken?
For instance, if you're in New Orleans, you can order him to stir the roux slowly for 45 minutes.
We're getting some clumping here. This is where people kind of start to freak out a little bit, and they're like,
I'm not afraid.
careful, careful. I need to make you sign a waiver.
Burn myself.
Okay.
We are
So-
afraid.
So when you wipe the burn,
Does that happen? Is that common?
No, because
No
people
one
pay
does that.
attention.
First time it's ever happened.
Ooh, distractible.
Yeah, you guys are all
you're
talking.
doing good. You're doing good. So this roux
41 minutes left, son.
only takes a couple of minutes. You can do this with butter if you're going to this color. The next color we're going to is our peanut butter color roux. That's what we're using for our shrimp, our crawfish, maybe a fish. The next color we're getting to is milk chocolate. And then the next, yes, for chicken and sausage. And then the next color is dark chocolate, which we're doing for our wild game.
This is one of the great advantages of a vacation rental, by the way. The chance to get some local ingredients, try out a local recipe, and enjoy a meal with your family.
So if I can play with food and get other people to get excited about food, that's what I do for a living.
Oh, you're literally aiming to hit this?
Yes.
So this whole thing comes off? Yeah.
Yes, that's why we're aiming this way. Okay, so you're gonna,
I
so
think you should let Amy
if you
first.
put this in ice water, the colder it is, the easier the break is.
yeah.
So this could take a few shots,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Amy!
First try.
Bravo!
Now it's your turn.
Don't drop the bottle.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good, you're good. Yeah! Cheers! That's
Now don't drink out the bottle. You don't want to drink out of that.
I feel like a pirate!
Excellent.
Typically, I would not trust my mother with a large knife and a bottle of champagne. But under Amy's guidance,
You can't be good at everything.
Okay.
You got it. You got it.
the next morning, Eric suggested we link up with John Hazlitt, a professor at the University of New Orleans, and also the proprietor of Lost Lands Tours, an ecological twist on the conventional Louisiana swamp tour.
I teach nature writing, American nature writing. So basically, it's a course that examines the way in which nature has been constructed in documents and literature. And I usually start in the 15th century with some Spanish exploration stuff. Cabeza de vaca, Alvar Núñez Cabeza de vaca.
We met up in City Park and hauled John's kayaks into the bayou. We made our way out into the broader open water, and almost immediately you sense that you've entered a completely different ecosystem.
What was the word you used? One of the few remaining what?
Cypress Tupelo
Oh,
swamps.
that's what I thought.
My dad's not a huge kayaking fan, so Eric had also set him up with some fishing rods, and he did exactly what he always did, stood by the side of the water and caught no fish. He never catches fish.
I have nothing to report, sir. I have one mosquito bite.
John started this business not as a major moneymaker, but almost as an excuse to get out on the water more often, to impart his infectious enthusiasm on tourists who end up becoming his friends.
Katrina was a huge awakening for me, getting into that kayak. The moment I was in that kayak and headed home, I knew that I had sort of found my home.
As a visitor, you can't try to understand everything that Hurricane Katrina meant to New Orleans, but the locals also won't be offended if you try.
I mean, the sense of community was unbelievable. And this, we connected with our neighbors in ways that we hadn't never done before, although we never needed to. We'd always been on good terms, but afterwards we were eating all of our meals together in the middle of the street. And we had a big 50-gallon barrel out there. It was like 2 years when my life was bracketed, and I spent rebuilding my house with one other guy. And we lived in the street. Eric, and who lives right across the street from me, much appreciated as a neighbor. He's an incredible parent. I don't know if you've met his kids. He's really lucky with his kids.
We moved out of the home, and it was a way for me to support my family. It really was. I'm a single father of three, and moving into another home, keeping our family home, using it as a vacation rental, all of a sudden became not only an amazingly enjoyable experience, but became a lifesaver. It really became a lifeline and a lifesaver. It allowed me to be a father, and allowed my children to be able to go to private school. And ultimately, that's what drives me every day is my children. My three girls, they inspire me, they motivate me. I can't teach pride to my daughters, but to watch them and be a fly on the wall as they've learned it themselves. Oh my God, that's amazing with all of my daughters.
This is how it happened. We said, we like to create, new dishes, play, improvise. And one day we said, let's do something. We don't have crawfish in Tunisia.
A funny amount of times in my travels will a destination's most memorable food ambassador surprise me with their ethnicity. The pastrami sandwich I had in Rio, the Korean dinner in Uruguay, Swedish pastries in Kansas. It's not like any of these cooks were trying to eclipse or somehow steal the spotlight of typical regional cuisine. They were simply sharing some of their personal history in an adopted home. It wasn't totally out of the blue, with this in mind, that one of the best meals my family would eat in New Orleans was something other than Creole or Cajun, but from the Middle East.
I love traveling. It's my school of life. My family, they call me the gypsy. So let's see if I succeed. Maybe I can join your team.
We're always looking for assistance.
This meal was courtesy of the great Moncef. To use Chef Amy's phrase, Moncef is a culinary entertainer. You're not just getting a meal at Jamila's, you're getting a front row ticket to the Moncef show. And tickets are delicious. A friend of Eric's for decades, Moncef and his wife serve casual Tunisian food in the uptown neighborhood about 15 minutes away.
Hi, how are you? Welcome. It's nice to have you.
Nice to be here. She's the magic mama. I'm just the busboy. Believe me, that's my title in the house. And it's true.
I asked Moncef if I could go back in the kitchen, and he was so proud to introduce me to his wife and one of the other employees, and it was incredible. The amount and quality of food that these two women were producing from this kitchen.
Does he come back here and help?
Yeah, he does.
Does he make a mess or does he behave?
He cooks well, but he'll have things everywhere, but it's okay.
Better up front.
Yeah.
And seeing as though I'd never had Tunisian food, in New Orleans, of all places, this meal was about as complete as any introduction to a new food could be. The only thing better than the food was the attitude surrounding it. And my dad loved it. He was eating up his lamb and his Tunisian crawfish stew. He was eating up Moncef's one-liners left and right.
It's great to see two people still in love in a business that they love. They've never worked a day in their life. They're doing it because they love what they're doing. And they love doing it here in New Orleans. And that's sharing experiences and culture and food and everything that fits together in our Gumbo, New Orleans.
never go to a Treme, but it happened, and I'm like, Treme, isn't it a little dangerous to be around there?
When was
never
this?
counted. That was a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So, but never counted about the homelessness. And then when we found, I'm like, great, so we'll just move in the neighborhood.
The neighborhood of Treme is a fascinating place, and not so long ago it was a place that very few people wanted to go.
Fatma is one of the people that invested in her heart, soul, and pocketbook in Treme and helped research Treme when you would not walk down this block. This block was dangerous, this neighborhood was dangerous, there was abandoned houses in blight.
As a result of vacation rentals, in a lot of ways, it has become a neighborhood that is much safer and has small businesses that are thriving.
So it was Ruth's Cozy Corner, then Jill's Cozy Corner, now it's Fatma's Cozy Corner.
Yeah.
What happens after me, we'll see.
And this certainly has not come without some controversy, some very spirited discussions. But what's very hard to reject is that this neighborhood is now a place where people want to be.
You know, when I was opening, I didn't tell neighborhood what I was doing. So one day I went to their neighborhood meeting and everybody's like, so you got the place, what are you gonna do? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't tell nobody that, you know. I said, I'm just gonna open a coffee shop and bakery. They're like, oh, okay. No alcohol, right? I said, no. So then I was welcomed.
Yeah.
Then I do a lot of things for neighborhoods. So their association, for the neighborhood they're on, for the homeless they're on.
And most of the people who are supporting are neighbors, locals,
Yes.
or you have lots of visitors too. I saw lots of short-term rental signs.
I have a lot of visitors.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of visitors because a lot of short-term rentals are on here.
Yeah, we saw.
Almost every corner.
We saw.
Yeah.
We're staying only a couple blocks away.
Yeah, that's it.
One of our favorite spots in Treme, just a couple blocks from the vacation rental, was Fatma's. This was our coffee shop for the week. A serial entrepreneur and perhaps more fundamentally a connector of people, she represented to me some of that calculated fearlessness that people in New Orleans exhibit. An explorer's instinct to buy into a place that stands for what you believe in, and the ability to not only survive but to flourish. My parents are big on stories, and my dad, as a small business owner, is always attracted to the small business down the block, and I could tell that both of them were really enjoying this lunch.
I was in here more than twice. I was in here multiple times in the same day.
You've been here. Yes, I remember.
We constructed your apple pie on the first day.
That's right. That was an amazing apple pie.
Eric's the lead at the Alliance for Neighborhood Prosperity, which is an advocacy group that stands up for the rights of vacation rental owners while closely looking at the virtues of the shared economy. While some organizations of this sort can have a fierce or even angry reputation, what sets the ANP apart is its roots in the community and its desire to present all sides of the story and to make the fairest laws possible.
Anywhere, and especially when it comes to vacation rentals, if there is not a ANP, Alliance for Neighborhood Prosperity, like, and that could be one person, 2 people, 20 people, or 275 like we are, at the conversation, at the dinner table, or at the lunch table, they'll eat us for lunch.
And this is a great tip for hosts, by the way. Connect with your fellow vacation rental professionals, both in the immediate neighborhood and beyond. It is the only way to solve your collective problems with a unified voice. It's the best way to share your community with the world. And if you want to innovate like Eric, click below to go behind the booking. And Eric also introduced us to Penny, a neighbor, someone who's been active in the Treme neighborhood for decades. And Penny's vacation rentals, located right around the corner, which are over 100 years old, they had been lovingly restored and make for such a cool way for visitors to experience the neighborhood of Treme. Penny even walked us across the street and showed us the church.
The church was the first church built in the South that was for African Americans, because if you remember, in the South, you couldn't go to church together. So that was the first African American church built for African Americans. And then it was populated by, I'm trying to think of the name of that the priesthood, but it was also segregated, the black priesthood. And then the people who were caretakers, because part of that church was also part of a hospital, and the Sisters of Holy Family. And Henrietta DeVille is the founder of the Sisters of Holy Family, and that's the name of the street right there. And that's where Eric's property is, right on that. I think you all are staying on it. Yeah.
And between Eric and Penny and Fatma, I got a really textured understanding of what the neighborhood of Treme means to New Orleans. These are real people who have lived there or are living there and care about it deeply. And this is a distinctly different experience than you'd get downtown or in the French Quarter, just a couple blocks away. That night we ordered Uber Eats and we had food delivered from a local Vietnamese restaurant, which is pretty popular in New Orleans. There's a huge Vietnamese demographic. And after dinner, we decided to break out into Landau family tradition in the form of charades.
You've never played charades before. But I know I can't say like words. You know, can't say words. But also there are certain sort of predictable signs you can
What about sounds like?
No, that's
you go like this.
Oh, yeah.
Or sounds like. And you can go, it's a book. You can go,
Person.
what the heck is that?
What
are you doing, Simon?
We broke up into two teams, and we'd each write out a specific person or place or thing on a piece of paper and then force the other team to demonstrate or communicate that thing to their teammates.
Not too much. No, what?
Now, after a couple of drinks, and thanks to the strange logic that the Landau family uses, this eventually devolved into chaos.
Like, what is this?
Einstein Museum.
Einstein slippers. E equals MC squared.
T-shirts?
Theory of relativity. Yes.
Wow.
25 seconds. Yes.
Coastal.
Too much.
What team are you playing on?
For me, these are the kinds of moments that make vacations. These are the things that I remember after it's all said and done. And the Creole Cottage was the perfect canvas, the perfect place for us to enjoy that time.
Is the museum open yet?
It's not. Nope. It's going to be our early access tour. Starts at 7:45 a.m. We'll check in guests here. We'll roll at 8. And as you can see, it's pretty significant to be in here before anybody else.
Yeah.
So they'll start in our Louisiana Memorial Pavilion, focusing on our large artifacts in here. Then they will begin to tour the campus. It's an hour long, so it is a fast-moving tour.
Right.
And they're highlighting the museum through our large artifacts.
This is easily the city's top tourism landmark, and for good reason. But we were made aware of a new kind of entrance they were offering, a Before the Crowds tour that would let me and my parents in before the museum officially opened to the public.
I have a clean shirt on today.
I noticed.
Outposts on breakwater preventing personnel from reaching the water. Can you help?
Over here, come. We're on a tour.
I'm sorry.
All right, we're going to keep moving because we have lots to see this morning.
The time that morning to ourselves in the museum to hear the sounds of plane engines and to absorb the gravity of what this war meant to the world. I don't think I'll ever be able to experience a museum now any other way.
It's not just a plane. You think of the stories and the people who were in those planes behind it. And it really is a great time to reflect, especially early in the morning, and it's quiet and you can really kind of dig down deep into the history.
It is so special to me to be able to come to a museum with no crowds.
Yeah.
It just is amazing.
Well, good. I'm happy to hear that. We hope everyone has the same,
You can tell people you
same
were
thought.
there.
Because the museum invests so much in this immersion, all the different senses being activated to really understand what this war meant to the world, getting in early before anyone else was like the absolute perfect way to experience it all. It was you and history.
Everyone knows that the war's end is only days away. In the meantime, the Red Army has surrounded Berlin and launched a withering assault on the city.
And I know my parents loved it too. And for them, it was a different kind of connection. They were children growing up when this war took place. So the exhibits for them were much more personal.
What's the nicest or maybe most fulfilling kind of feedback or review that you've heard from someone who attended the museum?
Oh, goodness. I mean, it's, I know. For me, it's when folks have a personal connection, whether it was their father who fought in the war or really their grandfather. I love especially hearing some of our younger generation talk about and draw that connection to their grandfather, or even their great-grandfather now is where we're moving into. When they hear the stories or when they're touring through the galleries and perhaps they even see an artifact that was their grandfather's, they may know or may not know that it's on display here, and seeing them and having that personal connection. Of course, we love our World War II visitors, and I think that would be, they're few and far between now, but really that's the most special, is having them visit and seeing them tear up and relive those memories and things like that. It's really special, and especially when they share those memories with us.
And that's a great tip for travelers, by the way. More and more cultural institutions like museums are beginning to offer different kinds of tours, behind-the-scenes looks, early access. Ask these institutions if they're offering any special kinds of tickets and jump on them if you can. Chances are, for not that much more money, you can get an entirely new level of access.
It's fine for one, baby. That's us. Find us out here every week. All is fine.
I was made for this. I was made for this. I was made for this.
There's maybe no better cultural event that you can attend in New Orleans. No business that's more encapsulating, no concert that's more evocative, no single person that is more iconic, that better encompasses the collective magic of this town than a second line. And we'd be in luck, Eric told us. There was a big second line coming through the Treme and our street on the next day. Today's second lines are a close descendant of the city's famous jazz funerals, in which a casket was paraded through the streets as a final goodbye to the place that individual called home. Only now, of varying sizes and organizational levels, it's like a moving street party full of brass and elaborate outfits and people of all ages dancing on all surfaces.
You're looking at the chosen one. I was made for this. You know that I was made for this.
In New Orleans, you can drink out in public, and you can walk into a gas station or a bar and literally walk outside with your beer or cocktail, which when done responsibly is maybe the nicest thing ever. There were a few corners that felt otherworldly, that beautiful travel sensation that I am somewhere new.
You're looking at the chosen one.
And it's not uncommon, by the way, to see these second lines parading through the French Quarter for a wedding or someone's graduation. You can actually rent out the police escort for a couple $100. But this wasn't a wedding or a graduation. This was the real thing. When cultural events like this are done, not for tourists, but because the people that live there want to do them, and that when those individuals are welcoming to outsiders to join in, it creates this perfect balance, this synergy for everybody involved.
I was made for this. You know that I was made for this. I was made for this. You know that I was made for this. Oh yeah. I was made for this. Yeah. You know that I was made for this. All right.
You're my babies.
They look well adjusted.
They're very well adjusted.
And if I learned anything in my visit to New Orleans, I know that the secret to making a great po' boy is great bread. And that the secret to what you put inside of it is pretty much whatever your mother taught you. In preparation for our last night, Chef Amy suggested we wander over to meet Jason Jandusa of Jandusa's Bakery, the original creator of the po' boy bread.
Guy Fieri was here one day and he said it tastes like cotton candy.
It does have the texture.
In
your mouth. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a recipe that's passed down from your great-grandfather.
Still doing it the same way they did it 100 years ago.
With loaves of bread the size of pool noodles, it was impossible not to try our own hand at po' boys that night. We invited over some of our new friends for dinner, a chance to return even a sliver of the hospitality to the people who made our visit to NOLA so unique.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, cheers.
And as we settled down to eat in the courtyard, I had the chance to reflect back on the last 5 days with my family in New Orleans, a city that dances to its own unique rhythm, but will happily encourage you to join in. This is the same thing I appreciate most about my family, too. Encouraging each other to be independent while being entirely open to different lines of thought. Choosing a vacation rental like Creole Cottage by way of someone like Eric Bay meant for me entering this gateway to the real destination of New Orleans. This diversity is what originally drew me to New Orleans, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's also the reason I've decided to call it home. Sometimes the character of a destination, other times the meaning people give to it, but oftentimes a mixture of both. This is New Orleans.
This is the Vacation Rental Show.